Well, we shouldn't start with one.
You can start without a quorum.
We,
You just can't vote.
okay. I cannot call the meeting to order.
Yes, but you can start with the proceedings.
I think we have everybody great.
I think you may have a quorum. 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Give it a-
your quorum.
Okay, I call to order the meeting at 4:31. Welcome, Roberto.
Thank you very much. Now beginning the General Assembly roll call for Madison Student Senate on Thursday, April 18th, 2024, beginning with the Executive Council, President Giovanni Michelle.
Brother.
Thank you. Vice President Administration Finance Kai Brito, present. Vice President Legislative Affairs Megan Juf, she is present online. Vice President Team Development Annette Crowder.
I am present, but I will be leaving soon.
Okay. Oh, that's excused business. Yep. No worries. Vice President of Public Relations Michael Malone.
Present.
Thank you. Advisor Sean Green.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Angel Avila. I know you online.
Yes.
He said he was? Hey, he's so excited too. Senator Sierra Brunner. Oh, Sierra's. Okay, we'll come back to that. Senator T. Clearwater.
Here, present.
Thank you. Senator Kodiak Kessel.
Present and or accounted for.
Senator Danny Hurt, thank you.
Present.
Hey, there they are. Okay. Got people. Senator Kennedy Washington.
No.
Absent? Okay. Senator Cameron Wilkin.
Present.
Hey, and this is no longer. And then, Reedsburg Senator Stacy Brunner and or also Sierra Brunner, Senator Sierra Brunner.
We're both here.
Yeah.
Hey, perfect. Also, like, don't make me Instagram you. Perfect, thank you. We do have quorum.
Thank you.
That's what I did.
Then a motion to approve the previous minute.
I motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Sorry, we don't have them. Yeah.
I still motion.
I will voice it. Hold it.
You don't have to recognize a motion as a chair.
Okay. And then a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I'd like to make a motion about the agenda.
Vivi Crowder,
I'd like to make a motion to have Danny Hurd do the team development report.
is there a second?
I second.
I actually don't need a motion. She can choose to allow that. You can designate someone in her position. So she can just say it.
Any discussion?
Does Danny have to accept?
I mean, I didn't write a report.
No, you're just
Yeah.
gonna remind people what we talked about, because I'm about to get offline. I have to be down there in like 6 minutes here.
Oh, do you have the time set and could you resubmit the surveys?
Maybe Sean can get that to you.
Yeah.
Sean will send that to you, our advisor.
Yeah. Sean, also, can you,
Yeah.
if you could resend out the survey, because it sounds like a lot of people aren't able to find it.
Okay, will do. For good practice, since we do have a motion on the floor, let's.
Oh, sorry.
Even though we're right, VP Brito, we do not
Yes.
technically need to have that for the delegated report. Let's continue on the motion and follow it through.
Do you accept it?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody's in favor of approving motion for Senator Danny Aaron, make the team development committee return.
We are both runners and Malone, with their hands raised, and Villa as well, and, Crowder is visually raising her hand. Looks like we're back.
I think that's almost everyone. Okay, thank you. Now I did a motion to approve the agenda. That's all. Any second?
Yeah, second.
Okay, any discussion? Everybody was in favor of approving the amended agenda, raise your hand.
Yeah, majority of it.
Thank you. Public comment, we have Dr. Sylvia Ramirez, EVP Finance and Administration, COO, 20 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So thank you, President, Senators, and colleagues. I'm so pleased to be here. So I'm the Executive Vice President of Finance and Administration and Chief Operating Officer for the college. And so my portfolio contains sort of all the back of the house stuff. So finance, facilities, auxiliary services like our bookstore and our dining, something I'm forgetting. And so I'm excited to bring you the last set of updates that we're going to bring you from Finance and Administration this academic year. And it's also only the second. And typically I get to come like 3-4 times. So I don't know why Sean didn't invite me there, but I do miss seeing you all. I appreciate the opportunity to get to come. And I do want to thank several of you, though, because even though I haven't been here at Senate, I've interacted with several of you in various shared governance councils. Folks are supporting us on our student parent efforts. And I genuinely and meaningfully appreciate that work that you all do. The impact of the Senate on the college is significant. And so if you ever think like, oh, it's this extra thing I have to do, it takes all this time, it really is a benefit to the college, to the other students. And I also want to take a moment to any of you that are graduating. Graduation is just around the corner, right? Like it's crazy.
Maybe.
But it's a major milestone, a significant accomplishment. And then I'm just so very happy for you. So if you're going on to the workforce or additional education, I hope your time at Madison College was exceptional and we appreciate your service. I have just a couple updates for you, and then I was going to leave a little bit of my time for questions. So last time I was here, we discussed the dining operating hours. We are going to work this summer with the intention to extend hours for the next academic year. We're going to spend some time analyzing sales timings and course timings in the fall for in-person courses here at the Truax campus to determine how to appropriately staff. There may be some shift in the morning to give us more flexibility in the afternoon, because that's where we've been hearing a lot of demand. But, we definitely heard you, and that's something that we're going to put a lot of time into this summer. And then I also just wanted to make a plug. If you're graduating, if you know anyone that's graduating, I encourage you to check out our graduation gift packs at the bookstore, or ask your friends and family to check them out for you. And so I always say hi when I see people out and about with their Wolfpack gear on. And so when you leave the institution, or if you have friends that are leaving, giving them that item to take with them is it's a way to keep them connected to the Madison College community, and a way to keep them, when they're out and about, getting that support and care that we love to give all of our students. The other thing that I've been spending a lot of my time on is our early learning campus at Goodman South, which is our on-campus child care center we're trying to build at the Goodman South campus. We're continuing to work to secure funding for that project. We're about halfway to our goal. We're expanding the early learning campus here at Truax to 7 classrooms. And one of the hardest things that we found about opening more space is finding more teachers. Recruiting childcare teachers is it's a tough industry. And we're continuing to look at ways that Madison College can be a partner in supporting the early childhood educator pipeline, both for staff positions here at our college, but also we know out in the community it's such a critical need. And then the last update item I had for you is just about the budget. The last time I was here, we were like at the very beginning of the budget process. So now heads up, it's done. We do have a public hearing at the next board meeting, which is our sort of last legislative step before we ask the board for their approval in June. Our fiscal year runs just like yours, July 1 to June 30th. And so we need that approval in June in order to be in compliance for the July 1 start. All of our budgets, including student organization budgets, get posted to Workday in middle of June for the upcoming fiscal year, so folks can start to see if you're involved either through Senate or through another student org in the budget management process. A lot of those reporting come from our enterprise resource planning tool, which is called Workday. And so then that information will be available in Workday in June. And so with that, my thing I get the most out of when I come here is to hear from you all. So any questions that you have about my updates or about anything else that I could potentially help with, I will let you know if it's something I can't do. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my immediate question, I just want to see if anyone else wanted to ask first before I go down the line of questions.
I have one
Thank you.
question.
Yeah, go first.
Go, Cameron.
I don't know if it's your area, but I remember I think it was in the fall semester, we were talked to about switching from Blackboard to a different
Yes.
operating service. Do you know if that has been selected yet?
Yes, it's not my area, but I do know the answer to that question. So yeah, the college, and again, to just highlight the criticality of students, the college is moving to Brightspace, which has another name that you're probably more familiar with if you've ever used an LMS at another college. Let me just Google it real quick because they're always merging and changing names. I can't remember what Brightspace's old name was. Oh, D2L. So it used to be D2L. And so we're switching to Brightspace. That's in process now. And one of the main reasons we picked it, actually Brightspace and Canvas did sort of equally well on our assessment of services, which was sort of a comprehensive assessment of their proposed services. The differentiator was really that Brightspace was much, much better at supports for things like screen readers and other supports for like disability services, head and shoulders better than Canvas. And what we had heard from students was that was one of the things they really wanted to make sure the new LMS was great about. So that and mobile friendly, which it will be. So we're in the process of doing that. Faculty, it's sort of a phased approach. And so it'll probably, I think it's academic year 25-26 that it'll roll out.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we're excited. I know that lots of people are excited to move off Blackboard. I think a little bit more than they're excited to move. They're like, whatever the others are doing. But yeah, so that's a project that's in process right now. Actually, a message just went out to faculty today about doing some training on how to move their classes over.
Nice.
Any other question?
And it is our goal to make it as seamless as possible for students. We're trying our best to make sure that you don't have to use two at the same time. I can't promise that won't happen, especially because some of our faculty are going to be a little bit earlier adopters, but we're trying to do it on sort of a program by program basis. So for the most part, most students will be on one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the first question is, when it comes to the budget process, one of the things that I'm obviously most interested in is like how the student activities budget is going to be utilized. And oftentimes we have to think about, oh, how do we manage the limited funds that we're, allowed given the student activities fee that we, raise kind of ourselves and some money that's given to us by support of the school. But, we often think about how to manage those things, but I don't think we're ever given the possibility of thinking, how do we expand our income? And one of the ideas that I've been having is that groups like athletics and executive leadership team often book national travel. And we don't currently have a credit card to accumulate travel points. If we're actually making this much travel, if we're doing this much travel, we're missing out on an opportunity. And I'm in accounting right now, and there's an account called Purchase Discounts Lost. We're losing out on all these discounts if you think about it that way. So
I'm guessing that whoever's booking your travel has a college purchasing card, and we do get we get money back on those.
So we are getting money back. Is there a way to verify that? Because every time I brought it up, no one seems to know.
We don't get rewards like you would on a traditional credit card because it's a corporate card account. We just get credits back from the vendor. I don't think anybody would know about it except outside of the finance office.
Okay, so we're making money on it though, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Or like savings.
right, we can say we don't
Sorry.
pay.
We're not making money on.
We don't spend as much.
Right,
We
yes.
get like 1 or 2% back or whatever. It's like a cash back. It's similar to your cash back rewards card, except we get it in like a big chunk.
And do we feel
Across
like
all
we're
our
doing like the best we can there? Is that an area? to
Yeah, we
expand?
bank with US Bank and have a negotiated agreement for a lot of different services that they provide us. And so it's one of many. So I don't know that we're getting the best potential deal on that specific item, but overall, we've been really satisfied with the service we've gotten from US Bank.
Is there a way to allocate some of the funds that are being used to save? Because like if athletics is making the savings, should some of their budget be subsidized by the amount of, travel fees that they're getting?
We could explore it. What I will say is probably
Not.
transparently, administratively, it would cost us more money to transfer the money than you would get. Because it is a lot of national travel for like an individual, but in the scheme of like the college's funds, it's really not that much. But I can certainly look into it. I've never asked the question, so certainly we can have a conversation about if that's feasible.
No, it would be good to see if we're saving, because if athletics, the department is saving the school that much money, then maybe we could get a portion of that back. And it doesn't need to be exact. Like what it could be is you can estimate how much travel are they doing, from all their teams. And then instead of funding everything ourselves, I think that would help address some of the issues that they're facing to be able to accomplish some of the things that they're doing. Because if they're generating revenue, maybe that should be recognized as that. It's just things I think about, being an accounting student, then also seeing it in practice, in the student organization. So that's just how I am seeing the world. And also for ELT too, because we have national competitions where we're going, BPA goes places, so does Skills USA. So does, our STEM center just came back from a national competition where they won second place for a boat building competition. And there are also honors projects that people are competing on. Wilfred Tapsoba, I think, just won first place at a personal individualized, honors competition. Who was our former student senate president last year. It's we're doing great things. And it's if that could be accounted for monetarily, then maybe we wouldn't have to struggle so much with the student activities budget. I'm just
Yeah, of course. I think some of that travel is funded through the general fund.
Oh,
But
okay.
but certainly the travel that's funded through Fund 713, which is the Student Activities Board Fund, we could look at.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Thank you. Before I continue on, does anyone else have a question? No? Okay, some of the resolutions that we had recently passed involve textbook affordability, or involve the textbook affordability committee, which includes art supplies through what our Senator T. Clearwater. led the
Sonia's
charge
very
on.
aware.
I am very.
We just.
Oh, okay. Yep, and then also for world language affordability for the.
Also very aware.
Oh.
I'm already on that. I have a meeting with everybody on Tuesday.
Yeah, I just friend Felipe, so I'm gonna be meeting with Professor Mariga pretty soon, so he just told me.
Yep.
So, yeah, but anyways, yeah, I know, so that we all know what's going on. Yeah, I guess bring us up to speed, because T knows everything, but.
Yeah, actually, T probably knows more than I do. Scott Hyman's our, the oversees so Scott Hyman and Holly Deering are both over the bookstore. And so I think T is meeting with them and Kim, maybe.
Yeah, I got that email and I have to reach out to see if that'll happen. Even if I only have Scott's ear to do a relay, because it's just I did not expect an additional name for this conversation. So I was okay, I already managed to schedule it in a way that works for
Yeah, and it's
me and those other three. So it's just I think it's a little short notice to try to reel in this person. However, I have applications and stuff on my phone that'll allow me to do live transcription. So I can also do that so that I can carry on that conversation more easily. But ultimately, yes, basically, I'm going to try to see about working with them in the same way we would work with the access codes for the MyLab Math, essentially, and how that would translate out into the bookstore, because obviously we hold those access codes physically on campus in the bookstore. So, what has that process been like and everything? So yeah, that additional name is coming forward, working more specifically with those type of access codes. So I'm a little unsure of how it differentiates, and I'm sure I'll find out on Tuesday. But sounds like so far from when they presented to us, that it sounds very much like there's a potential for them to access the book charge program. And that's essentially what I'm trying to get them on right now through the charge that I took with the art cards, which is, if you're familiar with, trying to get us just a simple business to business agreement so that we have preloaded gift cards with the necessary amounts that these instructors would need, which, by the way, I have the names as of today of everyone that I need further for individual classes for the art department. Fun. And I have to communicate with them, get those specific overhead numbers and everything, and just do number crunching, basically.
And the bookstore staff will help you with that. So.
Oh yeah, very much. Scott and I are going to be working on it over the summer.
Yeah.
Even though I'll be stepping away from the Senate, it'll still be a project that I'm a part of. But ultimately, we actually do think that if we get the communications from the art staff, that we should be able to have it by the fall. It seems a lot more plausible if we kind of put that pressure on. And now that with the resolution from the Senate, I can go ahead and forward the signed resolution to the art instructors to put that pressure on them to communicate, essentially.
Yeah, and it had actually come to us before. And I know Scott had already started working on it. So when you reached out, I was like, oh, perfect. Because rather than us try to pursue two angles, like let's focus that effort and really get, and so part of this is that we used to sell more art supplies in the store. We found that they weren't selling, and particularly during
Kits,
COVID.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of our kits dried out. So like the materials were, they sat there so long. Then we had to dispose of a lot, and then so then when it came to our attention that there was this gap, it's obviously something we want to help take care of. And I know the book charge is critical for students, and so we're always trying to make sure that the services we provide fall
Yeah.
within that. And as much as we can within the rental program, right?
Yes,
But consumable supplies are harder on the,
very much.
can't
so.
rent them.
No, and the students know what they need.
Yeah.
Fine, this is great.
So I've been noticing in the bookstore recently that there seems to be a shortage of different things for multiple weeks. Some things being like this pen, I go through a lot of pens,
Mhm.
write a lot, but this specific Pilot G2, and other pens, the steno pads, notebooks, folders. I've been noticing for a couple weeks that I go in there and either they've stocked them and run out very quickly, or they're just not there. I was curious if that's a supply chain issue, if that's a
That's a
purchasing
good question.
issue.
I was just chatting with them. So there's a couple of things going on that could explain that. I think one is that I did hear that a bunch of stuff just came in that was back ordered because we had been having issues with suppliers getting stuff to us on time. On the other side of that, I know that they are really trying to be more attentive, and I think they're trying to figure out the right timing for more just-in-time ordering, because what we were finding was we were having a lot of stock that didn't move. And so we wanted to be better about getting the things that sell in stock when we need them and not purchasing at less frequency the items that don't really sell. If you're seeing things sold out, then that's a good sign that they are selling.
Yeah,
And so then I can talk to him, but I know that the other thing is we had our textbook buyer left in January.
oh,
A different, somebody moved into that role, and then they were our general merchandise buyer. So we just filled that position, and just Monday,
yeah,
they started. So hopefully that'll help fill in the gap too, because we sort of had staff that were not as familiar with the buying and the frequency of sales, doing that in the meantime. And so we're really excited about our new buyer so hopefully that'll stabilize over the
Okay,
next few
awesome.
weeks. Yeah.
wonderful. If I'm not mistaken, public safety falls under your jurisdiction.
It does. That was what I missed.
Yes. Yeah, I was curious about that. I'm going to go ahead and assume that Flan's told you about the new public safety advisory
Mhm.
committee.
Yeah. I talked about it the last time I was here. Yeah.
Great, awesome. What would be some of your recommendations for that committee?
That's a great question. For me, I have deep respect for our public safety team. I think they really care about what they do and about the students. I think, and overall, I think we have really safe facilities. I think you see that play out with things like us able to host the United States president.
Yeah,
From my perspective, what would really be the most beneficial for that team is for the students to give feedback about what you all need, gaps that you might
Precisely.
see. I know that we've had some conversation about things like ticketing.
yes, I can.
And, and so I think that that's one that we can look at. There's, Flan and I have had some discussions about, there's places we absolutely have to ticket. If you park in a fire lane, we will give
Right,
you a ticket.
yeah.
Like, we might tow your car. But having some more conversation about that. But really, to me, what's so super beneficial about that is to have your all's voices, because I can
Yeah.
guess at what I think you might want. But I might be totally wrong, and I don't want to spend our limited resources on the
Right.
wrong things, right? And so, I think keep bring those things, the things that you're finding to him. And if there's something you want to tell me and I can reiterate with him, that's great too.
Nothing,
Is that a clear one?
I would like to motion to extend by 5 minutes.
Oh,
second,
thanks.
Any discussion? Everybody was in favor of extending the time to 5 minutes, raise your hand. Thank you. Until 5:01,
Okay.
No, wonderfully stated. Sorry, that interrupted my train of thought.
It's okay.
It's really done.
We're talking, I said, if you have anything you want me to reiterate with Flan, I'm happy to do it.
Oh, just that we very much appreciate his presence, his feedback and all of that, you know, it's invaluable.
Yeah, I love working with Flan. He just joined, like, so that we reorganized and he started working with me back in July. And so this has been our first academic year together. And it's been an exciting one.
Oh, yeah.
But he's phenomenal. And I know that he really cares about the students. So I'm
Yes.
so glad to hear
Yes, absolutely. And we can definitely tell. So if you would just tell him that would be
I will.
the only thing for me. Thank you.
Anything else? I've got a couple minutes. No.
Yeah, does anyone-
I don't think so.
Okay, I guess one thing that I wanted to see more of next year, and this is like for other groups too, the SAB doesn't have their bylaws posted online. There's no like web space for people to be able to read about that. I know these things are in Wolfpack, but I actually found it nice. One of the things that I was doing today, is that we have a bill to like kind of revamp and see how other colleges are doing their elections for their student government. And I was like looking and finding their bylaws online.
Mhm.
And I was just thinking, well, why aren't more of our things being able to found online? Like, are we like, you know, like, I know that's just kind of a willpower of just, you know, like, oh, there's other priorities, something like that. I think it's a really easy thing we could fix, it just posting things online, making things more transparent. I don't think we're necessarily trying to hide. But I do think that things aren't easy to find because of that. So like, if I weren't in the positions that I am now, I don't think I would know about these things, right? So like, this is a kind of a place where if you get into one thing, you start learning like more and more about how these other things work, and you get like connected, like a neuron thing where all these things are little connected through little different pathways and people that you meet. But you wouldn't know how to do that if you didn't know anyone. So I just want to make it easier for students to be able to find that information. Like, is there a way to make that more available? Because even when I wanted to join like certain councils, like shared governance councils, you have to ask to get permission on SharePoint. So is there a reason why that needs to be like, you know, behind those, you know, access bars? Or is there like security things I don't know about? Or can you shed some light on that maybe?
Sure. So the website is not part of my responsibility. But I can give you
Sorry.
a little bit of information about it. So a couple years ago, we did a big project to split the website into madisoncollege.edu, which is our front-facing site, which is really largely focused on student recruitment. We also have students.madisoncollege.edu, which is dedicated more to current students. So what you're describing about the bylaws and making those accessible, I would say that that's to me a very logical item for students.madisoncollege.edu. And I would recommend you talk to student life staff about working with marketing to have that happen. For what's on WolfNet, our SharePoint site, that was part of that process, was we were trying to move to an intranet so that there was sort of not everything that we do is on the website. But what we found, and I was just having conversations with Dr. Mark Thomas, is responsible for that area. So if you want to ask him, but he and I were actually just talking about, we've had a few things that have come up, particularly on the public information side. Not necessarily about shared governance, but other things that we do, largely finance related, that aren't on the website or aren't easy to find on the website. And we've had external entities ask about it, like, oh, well, do you have a policy for this? We're like, we do. You just have to find it. Like, here it is, you know. So we're going to do a little bit of a relook now that it's this split between the three sites has happened, about what needs to be on the main page, what needs to be on students.madisoncollege.edu. And we did used to have a shared governance page that didn't give a ton of detail, but at least gave you a little insight. And then, you know, even if we could just give you an email address to say, like, if you want to learn more, contact us, you know. If you are a student employee, you get access to WolfNet as part of being a student employee, but I don't know that everyone knows that.
Yeah, I know that I'm able to access some things now that I'm a student employee, but in the last minute here, the other thing I wanted to ask is, you know how there's scholarships through Madison College Foundation? Well, I don't think I've ever been invited to that scholarship dinner. I was told there's going to be one, but I never got an email like saying, oh, there's a scholarship dinner. So like, I would like to, you know, like meet the people that are funding my education and say like, hello, this is all the things I'm doing with the opportunities that you've given me. And I feel like I've never been asked to do that. And I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Also, we're one of the things we want to do next year is like alumni relations. So like, where do we get that conversation started? And that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, the foundation is working on alumni relations. So I could So it's a breakfast, dinner, it's next week.
Next Thursday.
So I don't know how the foundation is actually technically a separate 501c3 nonprofit. It's not, it's in the benefit of Madison College, but they have their own executive director, they have their own board. So we have a clear separation of our two entities. That being said, I talk to the executive director sometimes, so I can certainly raise that the Senate has an interest in participating more fully with them.
Perfect.
But yeah, they're technically a separate entity, so I can raise it, but that's about as far as I can take it. I'm not on their board. Somebody is. Provost, I think.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ramirez. If you have any last time before you leave.
No, thank you all so much. I appreciate always leaving with good work to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Report from officer, advisor, standing committee, executive council, president report. In the executive council meeting, we talk about the bill we're gonna talk today, later, bills 3. Other than that, we didn't have a lot of, we spent the whole time talking about that bill. And the other thing is, I think it's more personal to me and, it's not a council. And with Senate as well, if you're gonna come to the Senate Success Award, it's gonna be next Tuesday, 2 to 4:30, right?
Let me check my calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Be there.
think so.
Aren't you in the planning committee?
Yeah, we both are.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're actually presenting the same stuff.
and other than that, that's gonna conclude my report. Hassan, see you raise your hand.
Yeah, I had a question. You just mentioned the student success. It's happening next week. Does anyone know how can I find out the names for like the tutor of the year, the teacher of the year, or should I reach out to the student life people? Does anyone know that?
If, I think we know that, but we cannot share it with you. You have like,
Not
that's,
until the actual-
yeah, that's until the actual. Event.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Unless the individuals who received these awards are willing to divulge, then Giovanni and I, as he said, are not at liberty to discuss.
and I think
Cool,
I think the tutor is us, but I think one is, PTK. I think it's for the,
Yeah.
instructor, yeah.
It is open to the public though, right? Where anyone could go and
So
see
far
it.
as I know.
Yeah, Hassan, I think you could go, right? He's allowed to come?
Oh, for
Yeah, I
the-
was just
yeah,
wondering,
everybody can come.
I was there last year and they had a little brochure about all the names on the list. I was just wondering if I could get to know their names before going there. So it's just a tiny question.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have it at the event, not before that.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions for me? Okay, thank you. Administration and Finance Committee, VP Brito.
Sorry. Hello, for my report, it's just largely a continuation of last week's. We had our final SAB meeting where we presented our resolution number 5 to them, and we'll be working with, I guess I won't go too far into it since we have an actual space, let out for that, but in our finance committee, at the SAB, it's another SAB issue. Okay, man, everything we do is so related to SAB. Well, okay, for our club issues, we got an extra $15,000. ELT got an extra $15,000 to be able to award to other clubs of unrestricted funds, and we'll be able going through the process of allowing other clubs to go on their summer trips that have to be taken before July 1st for the fiscal year. So all those plannings have to be made by then, so we can use the funds from this year on that. That's the only major issue on there. Any other questions? Nope, hearing none, my report is concluded. Thank you.
Thank you. This did not affect committee with the job.
Thank you, Seth, for that.
Thank you.
VP Joe,
Hello.
hello.
Yeah, we were at the Stevens Point last week, and then at, we voted for new officials, and the old ones stepped down. I gave my governor's report, and that was it. End of my report.
Thank you. Team Development Committee, Senator Air.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, yesterday we had a meeting with, T and Nets, and then we were at the team development, and basically what's on our agenda is to, get everyone to vote. So if you haven't vote for what we're gonna be doing in the end of the year celebration. And we still need to figure out a time, but, other than that, yeah, we're still working a little bit on like some tutorials and video tutorials, but, there's not much, to report except and that's at our conference thing or training, but, yeah, so just vote if you have, any preferences for where you want to eat and maybe the date as well, where she's gonna probably send that out. So that's the end of the report.
It is in the chat box too, the survey.
I guess the question, which would be redirected to Sean, do you know how many people have signed the survey, or sorry, completed the survey?
I think it's like 6 people or something. I can double check for.
Has everyone here completed the survey?
I'm doing it right now.
Nice. Yeah, me too. So are these the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that did it? Probably Annette too. So it's like,
So the same number of people that I talked about on Wednesday, and still 6 have completed it.
Giovanni, do you happen to know it?
yeah, I don't know
I
already.
swear the thing just, it will not allow me, I don't think I did it, but it keeps saying I did it.
What did
Do you try the new survey link?
Every time I get sent a link, I try it and it says I took the survey.
There's a new link, I think that, because I did do that before, but I think it's good now, because I was able
Can I
to.
see it, Mark?
Mine said I already took it too, and when I clicked on it, it showed all my answers had already been logged in it. It said I could resubmit it, but I assumed it was already turned in.
So who sent out the most recent link?
I did in the chat, and check GA.
Okay.
Mine's in.
Here we go.
Here.
Go up a little bit. And go. It should.
Skip class then.
No.
Also, speaking of Wolfpack Connect, I was just able to vote for board today. Like, it kept telling me, like, I wasn't eligible to vote.
I got that with the one that you were
Yes.
for the student.
Yeah,
Uh,
this one talk about
It
it.
was like that on Monday, but it should be fixed now.
Oh,
yeah, check
it
it out.
finally worked for me. Just vote.
What, didn't it
That's what-
close at the end of Monday though?
No, it closes on Sunday.
Sunday.
Okay.
I'll go vote though.
Well, I voted for someone that may or may not be in the room right now.
I don't skew the result.
I didn't say anything. All I said is that someone may or may not be.
All right, so any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Relation Committee, Malone.
Thank you, President Michaud. The only thing that I will be working on is the transition documents. Otherwise, end of my report.
Thank you. Advisor, put advisor green.
I just put in the chat, the PDF for the editable stipend rubric. I need everyone to fill that out who is currently on Senate, so that me and Giovanni, President Sean can go over it. Yeah, sooner get done, obviously, before May 2nd. Get done after that, may take a couple weeks just due to when payroll happens. So you want to make sure you get it in as soon as possible so that you can get paid for your time in the semester. Second thing I need to note was part of our duties as Senate, the Student Media Board, candidates that are going to be taking on the positions in, I think like the Clarion editor is one that the Student Media Board actually does interviews with a couple other positions, but 3 student senators need to be selected. And I'm looking for if anyone's interested so that we can do it.
For what though again?
For the student media board, part of our responsibilities, basically, again, when you use the coordinator, that position needs to go in front of the student media board. There's a board of students. 3 of them are student senators, that go interview process. I think Doug would also be on that.
When is this occurring?
I know that one of them is occurring next Wednesday from 11:30 to 12:15. I was not given a meeting location as of yet. But the other one is supposedly happening the next day on Thursday, but Doug has not heard back from the candidate yet, so there's no time that I can give it either.
Senate Council, and then after that, Senator Brenner.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can mark me down as tentative. I just wanna take a look better at my schedule with that information, if you don't mind sending it to me.
Okay, anybody else?
Senator Brenner?
I just have a quick question. How do we submit the, for doing our class presentations?
Are you talking about in terms of the second rubric? Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, basis of, well, truthfully, we have never really fully verified them ever. So if they were ever to just not get done, the only way that could have been verified is by the advisor actually asking the instructor of that said class to see if there was such presentation given and whatnot. But to my knowledge, that was never had to have gone down that road with with Ellie. So I would really more or less rate that on the basis of how well you promote Senate and talk about Senate, either individually with one-on-one with another student in the classroom or with a group of students, whether it be inside or outside the classroom. It's promoting Senate and getting that recruitment. That's how I would grade it. So if you're doing that, then I would just rate how you in that category in the second rubric, what you feel that you would be you would fit under. That makes sense?
okay. Okay, do we still have to like submit that form that says that we did it?
I'm not gonna require that.
Okay,
Back to the student media board, is anyone else potentially interested? The third person,
The person have to be in Senate next year, or?
or they have to currently be on the Senate.
That's why I asked about the dates, because it's current.
Otherwise, I would expand it, but it's not, I'm not the one to, this request is part of our duties. And that brought up to me today to see if I could ask it out to all of you. So if we don't have it, that's fine. Just get back to me no later than Monday at the end of the day. Just email me, Teams me, do whatever. I at least have one confirmed and one tentative at this time. Yeah, but that really concludes my report. And I will lastly say, new center meeting next week. Please make sure that you're in attendance, both current and upcoming senators, as it's going to be integrated as part of the training, and meet and greet and everything like that. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Report from Special and Select Committee, Student Activity Board, Roberto.
Thank you. Now's the time to talk about SAB. So at the SAB, we had our final meeting last week where what we discussed was the resolution that we passed. So everyone there seems to understand that, that's something that we're going to focus on as a priority next year. We assigned our summer what's it called? I need a motion to approve our summer executive team, where we'll be doing the preliminary research that'll talk about what makes Senate budget guidelines, sorry, what makes a student activities budget guidelines, so that everyone can talk about how we're all going to be spending our money. Because like we talked about, there is no current guidelines for any of the clubs. So if we're going to be starting bringing in more people to it, we're going to have guidelines about how this money should be spent. And also looking for ways to expand the current funds that we have so that we don't keep running into these issues. Because every single year, we seem to have new ideas about how it should be spent, and we just need to have some formal agreement that we can edit over time if we need to, but that just needs to exist because it doesn't currently exist. So they all seem to understand that. Charlie from the Performing Arts Leadership is going to be one of the members, which I think is actually a good thing. So perhaps she will shed some light onto why academic programs getting money. So we'll work on that over the summer. We'll be working with Jackson from Peer Health Educators, although I do believe that Jackson is actually part of a larger group, which is Student Life. Is that correct, Sean? It's Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson Hopball or
That would be
Student Life. Yes, it's actually part of Student Life, as well as not Camila, but Princess Zuniga from UCG, I believe, who is the incoming vice president, because I believe that Camila is graduating. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's Princess. So that's who our summer team will be. And then the last thing is that to mention again that, ELT made a request for the $15,000 of additional unrestricted funds to be able to address their own budget, as well as the budget for funding groups on their trips. So we'll be making those assessments next week, Monday, about who to give money for with the additional $15,000. And maybe not a full 15,000, because some of that's for ELT's budget because of their student success awards. And everyone seemed A-okay. There's no issues with that. So that's what happened at the SAB. And that'll be my final report for the SAB. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you. Any
No
questions?
Moving on.
Thank you. Thanks, Board Affordability Committee, Sierra Brunner.
No report.
Thank you. Regional Outreach and Engagement Committee with Malone.
No report.
He said no report.
Yeah, but you go by yourself to the regional?
If were you asking?
Like on Monday, did you go by yourself?
No, me and Senator Avila went to Reedsburg and
Wow.
back and since then.
Okay. Thank you. Transportation Analysis Committee currently vacant. Student Parent Support Group, VP Carter. Excuse. Public Safety Advisory Committee, Senator Castle.
We have not had a meeting since our last meeting, but what I will say is, now searching for the new vice chair. And the report,
Thank you. You staying on, right?
yeah,
Okay.
until I graduate, I intend to stay on.
Thank you. Inclusion and Belonging Coordinator, Senator Clearwater.
Yeah, quite a bit going on with that. I was working on my report right now, so I have my mind on it. Sylvia and I met to discuss current work at IBC. What the important perspectives to maintain is how I've been structuring everything and how she intends to be Indigenous representation on the student Senate and so forth. She has informed me that she does intend to pursue the position. So hopefully I will be able to make this a smooth transition if the Student Senate were to proceed with electing Sylvia next to the IBC position. I also had met this week with the tribal liaison, Michaela, as well as the XR team to further our process. And we had our first official strategy meeting where it was decided we were going to start working with the Menominee Nation due to both my ties and the way Menominee Nation is already favorable to online access. For great reference, our language revitalization 501c3 program, Menominee U, has been a great success and it has even been known to reach countries in the Eastern Hemisphere, including Ireland. So our tribe has been very enthusiastic about this. They have been already irritated with College of Menominee Nation because they continue to make promises that they did not keep about the online access. So I can tell you that they are favorable to it. And this is another reason why we decided to go with Menominee Nation is because we already know a general consensus about the casual want. So outside of like approaching institutional organizations, colleges and such, which we already have a working relationship with College of Menai Nation. So we feel like it's also another easy extension to continue to do so. But there's a general social consciousness that is more keen to wanting to work with online resources. Ultimately, we're taking the motto of tourism without tourism. That's essentially what this is centered around, is making sure we maintain respectful boundaries while delivering authentic experiences in education and perspective. That concludes my report.
Question? Report from regional and metro campuses, Reed Texas, Senator Stacy Brunner.
No report.
Thank you. Watertown currently vacant, Portage currently vacant, Select Consent currently vacant, Defense site currently vacant. Report from College Assembly and State Governance Council, College Assembly, Senator Air.
No report.
Thank you. Academic Council currently vacant, Diversity and Community Relationship Council, Corner, excused. Do you have anything to say, Senator Clearwater,
What?
about the DCRC?
Oh, DCRC. Yeah, the materials that I needed to review were kind of more of a review of prior work that we've done throughout the year. It sounds like we're gonna just be kind of doing another like pulse and seeing how we're feeling and if anything has changed on it. So nothing climatic right now. Next meeting will be next week. Our usual time of 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Oh, not next week. I apologize. In 2 weeks, on the 1st. That'll be the next meeting.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Facility and Planning Investment Council, currently vacant. Put that one. Finance Council, Brito.
No report.
Thank you. Information Technology Council, Senator Avila.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, I hope everybody's doing pretty good. We actually have a meeting next week that will conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
So cheery.
Institutional Ethics in the Council, Senator Russell.
Yeah, we haven't had a meeting, so.
No, thank you. Senator for Council currently vacant, unfinished business, no unfinished business, new business. Bill 003, election candidate intentionality, Brito, 25 minutes.
Thank you very much. Can we pull up the bill?
Yep, I am right now.
Boom. I'm just gonna start off with a simple reading of the bill.
May I ask a quick question? Because I've reviewed. I'm assuming that when you pulled up like NWTC and stuff, that information you dropped is to be comparative, like you were mentioning earlier in the report. So that way we have a better context of your bill and to support.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I put in a bunch of files into the SharePoint so you could see about how other bylaws worked with their types of student government. So they all have different names. There's no uniform name among the student government bylaws, but they all have general concepts of how the elections work. And typically, well, let me just read the bill and we'll get into it. But reading the bill, just starting at the beginning, this is bill number 3, elections candidate intentionality. The main, like the overview is that Student Senate will amend the bylaws to restrict the number of positions that any candidate may run for in a Senate election. The formal motion is the bylaws will be amended to add a new section to limit the number of officer positions a candidate can run for. Section 4 under Article 6, elections. And it's really just a single line. If you look at how it's actually changed, it'll read eligible Senate candidates may run for no more than one officer position. People were asking me about additional stipulations, stuff like that. I just removed all that. And now it's just that one line. You can only run for one officer position. I'll just read through what the primary reasoning was. Whereas during the 2023-2024 spring Senate elections, as well as the previous 2022-2023 spring election, several candidates ran for multiple positions, mainly officer positions with the Student Senate. When calculating the results, there are a number of extra calculations over vote counts that need to be made. So the highest vote count for a specific candidate in office can be given to a candidate. However, if that candidate ran for multiple offices, then they would choose between multiple offices, which may result in delays of final election results. So that was the issue. That's a problem. Student Senate believes that prospective Senate members should declare their intentions, and candidates ought to run for the office that best fits their ability. Therefore, the selection of only one office to run for or will accomplish these goals and aid in building a stronger Senate. And that's the overall intention of the bill. People should declare their intentions and run for only one officer position, and then it'll make things easier on all fronts. And then you'll see in the additional information that it is in line with how the US government runs their elections, but also bringing things to more comparison, how student governments run things. So the UW-Madison and UW-La Crosse, their student governments typically have like several members on there. They have like almost 100 students in their entire student government, and they actually don't run for individual positions. They run for president and vice president. And then general senators run in general to be elected. So people, there'll be like a batch of people. They'll be electing 100 people. You just need to get more votes than the next person. Then they self-select amongst themselves. So imagine if we were just all elected and then we amongst ourselves had to choose a Senate president. That'd be wild, right? So it'd be really interesting to see if we had to come to that conclusion. That's not how it works. It's written in our bylaws. They'll just have an election, student body will vote on it. But it is how bigger schools seem to do it. But we're not that big of a school in some ways. We're probably comparable to like Whitewater, UW Whitewater and UW Parkside, I think was our population match, around 11,000, right?
Not exactly sure.
Okay, well, I think those are the two.
Somewhere close, I would assume.
Yeah, those are the two campuses that we actually seem to match, right? Is that wrong?
We're a lot more than 11,000. That's just in person or degree credit.
Yeah, we have like 30,000.
Yeah, we've got like 30,000.
We almost matched
What?
UW, yeah.
We have 30,000 students.
But that's including continuing education. It's only 11,000 degree credit.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking LTE, which is around 13,000, is that correct? Actually, yeah, when you think about it from credits, but yeah, you're right, a number of students, but yeah, they're not eligible in the elections. That's why I was like, my number's wildly off. In some ways, yes, you're correct. In other ways, for the relevancy of this film, it's around between 11 and 13,000.
Yeah, 11, 13, yeah.
Right, yeah, so those are the people that are voting in these elections. And I think for a more comparable amount, we look at Fox Valley Technical College, which also has a limitation on the amount of people that can run for executive board positions. They have it run as 2, but I think it should be 1 based on the situation or the information that we put in there. The other thing to note is that another college, Gateway Technical College, in their bylaws, actually only 2 people can run from each student organization. They have a more interesting type of student government, which is similar to SAB, where they have it's not 10 members, but they have 7 members from different parts of life. Like they'll have an environmental group, they'll have the government group, they'll have the volunteer group, and then 1 to 2 candidates from each of those will run and be the president of their student government. So they have something similar where they won't, each of their groups will only nominate 1 to 2 people. So you can't have an overload of all the volunteer center people running for president. So there are people that have thought about putting limitations on who's running for what, because it just makes elections easier. And that's really the process that we want here. We want to make it easier for the results because things become messy when people start running from all positions and you have to wait for people. And it's like, why do we have this backup problem? Maybe we could be doing this a little bit better. And something to think about is that this could be part of a larger project of cleaning up the bylaws. Something that we didn't implement this year in our bylaws is that we have a bylaws review committee, there's legislative affairs, right? Then also a bylaws committee, right? So that could be something that a seminar next year heads up, because we didn't do that. But next year seems like a perfect opportunity for people to get involved with how we look at our bylaws. So some people, perhaps a person in this room could chair that committee, but something to think about. But anyways, this is part of that larger review, but it's 1 single rule and 1 single line that we're adding to the bylaws to just make it simple so that people don't run for more than 1 officer position and make the elections next year a lot smoother. Any questions?
Any question?
Not something you would like to vote on today, correct?
We could.
Do we feel that there's anything out of line that would need to be corrected? As honestly, I feel like this is very well prepared.
Compliments.
There we go, Kutch.
Yes.
Does this include regionals? I mean, because people, I don't know, for instance, could they apply for Goodman South, Truax, or the general senator and, a officer position?
As it stands now, you could, but there's also rules that in the bylaws that state you have to be connected to a campus in order to run for it. So if it's found out later that you don't have it, let's say you ran for Portage Senator you've never been to Portage before, you don't live anywhere in the area, you can't just run for that. That would make you ineligible as a start. So then you'd be like, oh, you won this, but we actually can't give it to you because there's no way you can represent Portage. So those rules are there, so that's why I didn't touch them at all. I did the same thing. Senator, what did you know?
So far as this is concerned, it only affects the officership, right?
It's true, it doesn't affect anything else, and I intentionally took away any language that affected anything else. This is just for officers.
Like how does it end up?
Malone? Malone, you have your hand raised? He's muted. Stop.
Are you talking, Mike? Cause you've got your
He said something in the chat.
accidentally hit the button, he says.
No worries.
Senator Cameron?
Yeah, so reading through it, section 2, the very last point where it talks about UW-Madison,
Yes.
it almost seems a little misleading. If that's what our intention is to have, where we're not necessarily running for positions, we're all running for senators, it makes sense to include that. But if the goal of this bill is just to limit the number of positions someone can run for, I feel like that misleads it a little bit, makes it sound like we're doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My other thing is, I totally support this and I think it should pass. But if I was like an outsider and I was a civilian looking at this and someone was like restricting, telling me who I can and can't vote for it almost seems and it's not telling you who you can and can't vote for, but it's almost like we don't believe that you can pick the right person to be an officer, but you can maybe pick the right person to be a senator.
No. Sorry, can you explain more of that?
Like if, I'm sitting here and all of a sudden then next year I go to vote and they're like, we're not voting on executive positions anymore. We've found that to be problematic in the past. We will vote for general senators instead.
No, we're not doing any of that.
Right. You see what I'm saying though, of why it would be misleading if it's in the,
So you think like looking forward?
I would almost just take that point out in general, only
you're
that last one.
So the reason I put that in there is I just wanted to give more information. That's honestly the only reason I put that in there. I'm like, oh, it's interesting that that's how they do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not intending that the law itself is not changing in that way. I wasn't intending on making it change in that way. I'm fine with removing it if you think that like makes it, leads to the future possibilities of that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what we did use to do.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, you guys all came into that change. That was one of the last things the bylaw review committee was supporting, was make it so that instead of the president and general senators and regionals, but you have those two categories for the election. Once you figure out who the president and general senators are, then the next in June, basically, is when the window opens for VP nominations. And so then senators, general senators would have to nominate other senators in a GA meeting. A week would go by, that open window, kind of similar to inclusion and belonging, and then a voting would happen following that. That's how it used to be. We wanted it to make it because it allowed the president ended up having to do so much work and things couldn't get elected, like people couldn't get on shared governance councils and get work done. And so we were like, let's get the VPs on the ballot right off the get-go. So when you start off, we have a fully team ready to go and ready to get stuff done. And that was where it comes to.
So like the whatever.
I know in my discussions with, being on that, committee with the review and also with Senator, VP Brito as well, is that it's nice to see when we have the VPs in position, they're established, they know what they're doing, and they are very well aware of what their position entails. So I actually personally lean to the favor of having them be promoted within because of that. But I also don't like withholding that from the general population. I think, honestly, personally, I would like to see that VPs are nominated by us and then voted on by the general student body. But I think that's so much more work for everybody. That's my 2 cents.
Because
I motion that, under section 2, additional information, sub point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is struck from the motion.
Friendly amendment, I deleted.
Thank you.
Malone, is it accident again or is it?
No, not an accident. I was gonna second Senator Castle's point, but you guys already moved forward on it, so we're good.
Yeah, it was a friendly amendment, okay. Any other questions?
I think.
Senator
You can go first.
First point of information, I think is one. Anyways, point of clarification, actually. Kai, would you be comfortable moving forward to a vote with this? If
Yes,
there-
sir.
Yes, sir. All right, then, second point, I move to a vote.
Seconded.
Yeah, any discussion?
Oh,
Can I ask a
Discussion.
question
Yeah,
first?
discussion.
So I was talking with Sean a little bit earlier about the bylaws committee you wanted to make. Does it make more sense to hold this for a couple months until we get into the summer and have a bylaws committee that can, I don't know, it just seems like maybe that would support it a little bit stronger. I think it would pass right now anyways,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Sean was saying how we've passed a lot in the last couple weeks and it would make sense to maybe hold something back a little bit.
I don't see the need to wait. I personally don't think there's any need to wait. I disagree that we should be waiting. I don't see a reason to do that. This is one thing easily that we can get done now, and we can still run the bylaws committee and look at other things. Because like, this is something we know is ready. So why are we waiting on something we know? That's something that often frustrates me at the US level, when there's something clearly that we need to pass, and then we sit there and like, let's put it in this big thing, like, we can do the big thing later. We get a chance to fresh perspective, all this other stuff. This is something that we know now is an issue. Let's safeguard it and take care of it before we're done. I don't think we need to wait.
so
Senator Castle, I mean, after that,
actually,
No, I was just,
yeah, we were kind of in agreement here.
Okay.
So to Kai's point here is it'd be nice to put it in now, and then the review can look at the effectiveness of this and see
Yeah.
how it's long-term playing out. The point of the review is to review all of it.
Mhm.
So if the new amendment to the bylaws doesn't seem favorable, that committee has more than enough like rounds to move forward with actually reverting back and taking that out of the bylaws. So I
Yeah.
think that it'll be well within their interest to still review it and not just take anyone's word for granted. That's kind of what the bylaws committee is about, is reevaluating everything. So, I see why you would want to kind of like, you would want to do that because we're so close to a whole new body,
Mhm.
that changing how that body looks it's a lot of turbulence right before they come in. So I can see why you would want to hold it off, but yeah, with that new perspective, they can see whether or not, it works for them. And this committee actually has, at least in my time prior, had existing people on. So we had new perspective and continuing perspectives as well. So they would talk that out.
Can you imagine if every single time that, because every single Senate has only had the elections in the spring, right?
Mhm.
So every single Senate said, oh, well, let's just wait for the new Senate to see how that goes. Because that's what's going to keep on happening. Because every single time it's going to be like after the Senate, like, whoa, let's just wait and see how it works in this election. Nothing's ever going to get passed during elections if we don't take decisive action.
Mhm.
We know it's an issue. Why wait? Because this is the next Senate is going to be waiting and they'll be like, well, we don't know anything about it. Let's sit on this until the fall and we understand how it works. We know how it works. We understand it. We have clear reasons for why we're doing it. If we sit on it for next time, nothing will get done. And then it's just going to keep not getting done because no one's going to know how it works until it's already too late and then we're going to have the same issue. Well, the new Senate's coming in, so we're just going to wait for them. It's going to keep on being that way. So
Senator Castle.
I motion to close debate.
Seconded.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's no discussion with this motion, by the way. Part of the Robert's rules, looking at your pen.
And we're gonna do roll call. It's gonna be
You can probably just do it via, are there any opposed?
Well, doesn't this one have to pass by unanimous?
it does have to pass by unanimous.
Yes,
So this
because
one passed by
It's a bill.
No,
It's a bill.
No, that's
It's a
your
bill.
motion.
You have to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he can choose not to recognize it and he can just move.
limited or extend debate, that's what you were using.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he could bypass the motion by not recognizing
Debate
it and
now.
going back to the motion on the floor, which was to pass. Or to vote on this?
So the extended or limit the debate is 2/3.
Yes.
And his
And
motion.
then, everybody was in favor of tabling the debate, raise your hand.
That wasn't to
That
table.
wasn't.
It was to end it.
Was extended or what?
End.
In the debate, raise your hand.
We got the Brothers and Malone.
Yeah, that's 2/3.
That's 2/3, cool, thank you.
Thank you. Now we move to vote.
Yeah, so we'll do vote by roll call as we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so doing our voting record to pass, Senate Bill number 003, that the bylaws will be amended to add a new section to limit the number of officer positions a candidate can run for, section 4, under Article 6, elections. Now beginning the voting record process. Vice President Mr. Finance Cabrito, aye. Vice President Legislative Affairs, Margaret Ju, sorry.
She's not here.
Vice President, and then Annette Crowder is, I'll mark as an abstention for not being there. Vice President Public Relations, Michael Malone.
Aye.
Thank you. Senator Angel Avila.
Not in the meeting.
Oh, he had to leave?
Yeah.
Okay. Senator Sierra Brunner.
Aye.
Thank you. Senator T. Clearwater.
Aye.
Thank you. Senator Kodiak Kessel.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I mixed up the names because H comes before K, is that correct?
Well, either way, next.
Well, I'm switching it, sorry. Senator Gallagher.
Aye.
Thank you. Senator Kennedy Washington was gone today, right?
No, she was not there.
Okay. Senator Cameron Wilkin.
Aye.
Thank you. And then Senator Stacy Brunner.
Aye.
The ayes have it, it's unanimous.
I nominate you for going on that committee then, if you're going to.
That's what I would like to see as well.
Mhm.
Thank you. Non-business housekeeping, call for application for communication platform, still. Announcement.
Submitted an application, but
No. Announcement, Vice President Malone, announcement. Ooh.
Give me,
Can't hear you.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
you cannot hear you.
member,
What the?
yep, I'm unmuted now.
It's funny.
Members of the Madison College Student Senate, Executive Council, and Advisor Green, it is with extreme sadness and a heavy heart that I come before you today to resign as Vice President of Public Relations for the Madison College Student Senate. The time that I have been afforded in my roles as General Senator and Vice President of Public Relations will benefit me greatly as I embark on my next endeavor outside of Madison College. I know through the conversations that I have had with many of you that you have given me constructive insights that will assist me as I progress forward along on this journey. Please know that I am grateful that you are always there for me, and don't be afraid to reach out and check in on me. The friendships that I have made with many of you will last beyond our time here, and for that I am grateful. Once again, please know that I always have your back, and I know you will always have mine. God bless and Godspeed on reaching your true potential in this journey called life.
Mike, a phone works both ways too.
Well said.
I am aware of that. So thank you for that. I will definitely reach out as well.
Thank you.
Better.
Thank you. Thank you. Any comment? Malone? Any, okay.
No, that sounded like a true politician.
Farewell.
Well, then, au revoir.
Thank you for your service during this term. and-
Sorry. I'm just seeing people like getting up and trying to leave, and I'm like, yo.
Oh, I was just scooping forward.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My bad.
Yeah, two of us were just moving around.
He has no agency.
See you next week.
Anyways.
Yeah. Thank you for all your service, Malone. And you will be missed.
Will he get a second? 100%? committed on camera, on record?
Not answer that as your legal counsel.
And upon advice of counsel, I decline to answer. Thank you. Any announcement, Senator Council?
Couple of things, announcement wise, for next meeting, I think that we should be looking at the removal of Senator Washington.
Yeah.
Not that it matters at this point.
No.
But they're also like at 8 points, and I think just for,
She showed up to like one meeting, correct?
I think, and for policy's sake, and just to be on our own, just to
Or at least bring it to a vote.
at least, we should at least bring it to a vote. I mean, we do have bylaws and things that say that we should do things.
Yeah, we
when
have
things
past
happen.
adherence to it for
We,
sure.
we have to adhere to our own bylaws.
Okay, now, before we go, is it that it went accurate? Because remember the last time we talked, we said we were not gonna count her as an office hours as well.
So I haven't updated it to that. I gave a scenario if she did. So she would, even in that scenario, she would go down from 8 to, so she would go down 3 points. So she'd go from 8 to 5, which is still
That's still all.
over, but she just missed today's meeting, which also brings her up. So there's another
5
thing.
for general senator.
Yeah.
Then
So
she's
you-
up a re.
There's some special rules in the bylaws that if you miss 5 meetings overall, you're automatically removed without having a vote. So basically, if she wants to be in Senate still, she needs to show up next meeting. Otherwise, she'll be automatically removed because she just hit her 4th one today that she missed.
Has anyone been in contact with her?
I think Annette.
I haven't.
And that is close.
We see her at the Rise office,
He
right?
knows that we have meetings, right?
Yeah, she knows.
I just don't, I hate to kick someone out and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up, that she has the opportunity to do an appeal as well for points. So somebody should definitely reach out from the executive committee.
Yeah, I reached out to her before like and
Yeah.
was she come the next minute.
I would do that again.
Is it,
And secondarily, and not to cut you off, Cameron, but we are now, I believe, when was your resignation official, Mike? As of after the close of the meeting
My
today?
Yeah, my resignation is official as of the close of this meeting.
Okay, so as of the close of this meeting, we should maybe look at appointing a vice president of health.
You didn't even wait for the crows to settle down.
I mean, I just,
we do have it
Left.
I hate to see positions empty.
next,
We'll literally have 2 weeks left by the time they elect their one and only.
next week is new senator meeting and we have a new PR vice president.
They're not sworn in.
They're not
Yeah,
sworn in
not
until May
sworn
2nd,
in.
yeah.
Okay, they're sworn in 2 weeks.
I mean, Giovanni, do you have powers to just appoint someone? Just-
Yes,
I know.
he does.
Yeah.
Just appoint,
Sure. Accept it.
just appoint T or anyone.
Sorry, Mike, you're going.
Pick your favorite friend and
PR.
make them join Senate and be like, I compel you to come to the Senate. Make back the.
Yes, do it. Make back. Vice President, do it.
So, okay, you got people recommended by Malone.
And I will
Dick.
beg to stay.
You can, but he has to accept that.
I think we can do that at the executive council, right?
Temporarily appoint somebody?
Yeah.
It's not even executive council's decision, it's your decision.
So announcement I was gonna make was
Yeah.
anyways, because of,
Sorry.
you're fine. I just recently found out I was talking about this earlier, like much earlier. One of the applications I use on my phone has an automatic transcription. I would actually like to try my hand at the meeting minutes this week and running it through this app.
Thank you.
I can't guarantee how good it'll be.
No,
because I'm
we,
using my app.
we're so desperate.
You are awesome, thank you.
We'll get anything.
Props
Thank
to you.
One other question I had about the PR vice president, if there's 2 weeks left, is there anything like major that we're working on in PR? Like, I'm not on the committee, so I don't necessarily know, but like something that we need a VP for 2 weeks, like that it's urgent
Right.
or?
I-
is it something that could wait till summer?
I think, I have the decision to make. I'm gonna think about it and I'm gonna let everybody know what decision I made.
Sweet.
Any other announcement? Roberto.
Yeah, just on behalf of Annette, I know that she'd want to tell people that, we have the spring identity council, what is it called?
Social.
So spring social that is in partnership with identity-based clubs like La Raza, like BSU. I don't know if any other groups are in on that, other than I'm Senate sponsored too. So she'd want people to know that it's from 12 to 2 p.m. in the den. I
I'll be
think,
present for portion.
so will I. I'll be there for like 30 minutes on Monday.
Oh,
Yeah, Monday, April 20, whatever, 2nd.
I'm not gonna be available on the 20, whatever, but.
I don't.
Anyways.
But that was Annette's, on behalf of Annette. Oh, and Student Success Awards are next week, Tuesday from 2 to 4:30, and you should come.
Yeah,
whenever
I
you
will
can.
be there. The Student Senate Awards will be from 3:30 to 4:30, or 3 to 4:30.
You already know?
Yeah, they have the layout posted already.
Okay, so come for that part.
Yeah.
Come for everything.
Come for everything. Giovanni and I are presenting the leadership awards, so come for that.
Same day too.
I motion to adjourn.
What?
Seconded.
Any discussion?
What?
Okay.
No.
Shut up.
Nominated?
Senator Michael. Oh. Vivi Malone. I see you have
Were you voting or no?
Is accidental.
No, Senator Kessel, Senator Kessel and Senator Clearwater beat me on both points, so.
Okay, everybody was in favor of adjourning today's meeting, raise your hand.
I vote.
Oh, I was already. Already folks.
Oh,
We got Malone and the runners hands up online.
yeah, that's everyone.
Sweet.
I move to adjourn today's meeting at 5:52.
You sure?
Yeah. I'll add in the last